A man's life can change in a single breath. And for Daniel, that breath came the night he heard metal scream on the highway. He didn't know it then, but the woman trapped inside that burning car wouldn't just survive because of him. She would become the one person who could heal the wounds he'd kept hidden for years. Before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from? And if this story touches your heart even a little, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps more than you know. Daniel Hayes had grown used to living in quiet pain. 3 years had passed since his wife died of sudden heart failure, leaving him alone with their 7-year-old daughter, Lily. He had mastered the art of staying strong on the outside, tying ponytails in the morning, packing lunches, pretending work wasn't slowly wearing him out. But on the inside, he felt like a house held together by tape. He smiled for Lily, but his heart still limped through the days. That night, he was driving home from a long shift at the workshop. Rain hammered the windshield, the sky bruised with thunder. He just wanted to get home, wrap Lily in a hug, and pretend life wasn't so heavy. But then, a flash of swerving headlights in the opposite lane shattered the silence. A small sedan spun, skidding across the divider, smashing into a guardrail with a sound that froze Daniel's blood that he didn't think. He just acted. He pulled over, jumped out, and sprinted through the storm. Flames flickered beneath the hood. Inside, a woman lay unconscious, her face pale against the shattered glass. Daniel forced the door open, burning his hands, cutting his arms, but he didn't stop until he had her in his arms, pulling her away from the wreck just as the engine burst into flames. She woke only long enough to whisper through trembling lips, "Don't leave me." "I'm right here," he told her, even though his voice shook. "You're safe." At the hospital, doctors whisked her away, leaving Daniel alone in a waiting room soaked in rainwater and worry. He didn't even know her name. He only knew that, for reasons he couldn't explain, saving her felt like saving a part of himself. Later, he learned her name was Emily Carter, a 30-year-old physical therapist who had been driving home from visiting her elderly mother. She had a concussion, several broken ribs, and deep bruising, but she would live. The moment she could speak, she asked to see the man who had saved her. Daniel walked into her room with hesitant steps. Emily's eyes softened when she saw him, not with pity, but with gratitude deep enough to quiet any storm. "You risked your life for me," she said, her voice fragile but steady. "You're a stranger. Why?" Daniel looked away. "I couldn't just watch and do nothing. Someone once saved my wife's life before Lily was born. I guess part of me hoped I could give someone else the same chance." Emily studied him, really studied him, as if she could see the exhaustion behind his practiced smile. And maybe she could, because after that day, their lives began to intertwine in ways neither expected. Emily insisted on thanking him properly, but Daniel kept avoiding it, embarrassed by the attention. Finally, she showed up at the local diner where he took Lily every Saturday morning. Lily immediately adored her. She had that type of warm, gentle presence that made kids trust her. When Emily told Lily she was a physical therapist, Lily asked, "Does that mean you fix broken people?" Emily smiled softly. "I try my best." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He wasn't sure why those words felt like they were meant for him. Over the next few weeks, Emily became a small but bright part of their world. She helped Lily with her school project, showed Daniel simple exercises to help with the back pain he'd ignored for years, and slowly eased into their routine like a missing puzzle piece they didn't know they needed. But every bond has a moment of truth, a moment when someone must choose to stay or walk away. For Daniel, that moment came late one evening when Emily found him sitting alone on his porch, head buried in his hands. He had just received a letter from Lily's school. Her grades were dropping, and the teacher suggested Lily might be struggling emotionally more than he realized. "I'm failing her," Daniel whispered when Emily sat beside him. "I'm trying so hard, but some days I feel like I'm barely keeping us together." Emily didn't give him advice. She didn't lecture or judge. Instead, she reached out and took his hand, something no one had done in a long, long time. You are doing the best you can, she said softly. And that little girl, she feels your love every single day. You're not alone, Daniel. Not anymore. Those words broke something open inside him. The grief he'd pushed down for years finally spilled out. Emily pulled him into her arms, letting him cry, letting him be human. From that night, their connection deepened. Not because of romance or obligation or gratitude, but because two wounded hearts had finally found a safe place to rest. The turning point came months later at a small park where Lily learned to ride her bike. Emily stood behind her, steadying the seat as Lily trembled with excitement and fear. Daniel watched, his chest tightening with an emotion he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Ready? Emily asked gently. Lily nodded. Emily let go. Lily pedaled forward, wobbling but determined, until she found her balance, gliding forward with a burst of laughter that filled the entire park. Daniel felt tears sting his eyes. It wasn't just Lily who was learning to move again. He was too. Emily walked back to Daniel, her smile soft and knowing. She just needed someone to believe in her. He turned to her, his voice barely above a whisper. So did I. Emily reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. For the first time since the night of the crash, he realized something profound. Emily hadn't just survived because of him. She had healed pieces of him he thought were beyond saving. She reminded him that love wasn't something you lose once and never find again. Sometimes, it finds you on a stormy highway, in a split-second choice, in a moment where two broken paths collide and become something new. Life doesn't always give second chances. But when it does, it sends the right people at the right time, not to replace what you've lost, but to remind you that your heart can still rise, still hope, still love. And Daniel, he finally understood that sometimes the person you save is the one who saves you right back.